I woke up and immediately realized something was different. What the? The room looks so different. Is this even the same room? My costume is here at least. Yay. I just finished changing when Erik's announcement tone played. Now maybe we'll get some answers. Instead of Erik's voice, only static could be heard. I wonder if there's something wrong with this thing. The static just kept getting louder before abruptly cutting off to be replaced with his announcement tone. So much for that. Guess I'll head to the team room. I open the door, only to freeze. What the... It's all different out here, too? What happened last night? I looked around to see if there was some sort of clue or servant around, but there was no one in sight. There's usually always someone around. If I just keep looking, I'm bound to run into someone. My mind made up, I took off down the corridor. I hadn't gone far when a hand grabbed my shoulder. On instinct, I lashed out with a reverse roundhouse kick.
Why the hell did you do that?
Only to see that my assailant was Mr. Bandages. Well, why were you skulking around? Seriously, next time call out or something. Don't just grab a girl from behind.
Brutal. I knew you were a Neanderthal.
Well, excuse me. But not all of us grew up with a perfect life. Some of us had to learn to defend ourselves.
Well, if you haven't noticed, we're playing one of Erik's games. No one is going to attack you for real. You could have at least thought about the poor person you may have been attacking before you did so. What if I happened to be one of those preening princesses? Then you'd have a problem.
You're right. Sorry about that. Normally I wouldn't be so jumpy, but the atmosphere here is really creeping me out. Well, that and waking up in a completely different room.
Yeah, Erik certainly pulled out all the stops for this one.
We both fell silent for a moment, and I suddenly remembered. That's right.
What's right?
Yesterday, you kissed me and then ran off.
So?
So, how did you even find your way back? His eyes narrowed sharply at me. You ran in the wrong direction, and with your sense of...
One of Erik's servants picked me up.
How did they find...
Erik had my phone fitted with a tracking device the first time I got lost. Can we go now?
Sure. We had only taken a few steps when the lights flickered and died. What the... I walked straight into Mr. Bandage's back. Why'd you stop moving?
Because I can't see where we're going? Do you just blindly walk into everything?
No, but it was an empty corridor. What are you worried about?
In one of Erik's games, anything could pop up in the corridor while the lights are out.
Well, you know Erik better than me, so I'll take your word for it.
Thank you.
Did you just thank me? Is the world ending? The light suddenly flared back to life. Oh, hey, the lights are back, and look! The corridor is still empty.
Yeah, this time. It's probably not going to be the last, though. Here.
He held out his hand. What?
I'll hold your hand so you don't keep bumping into me every time the lights go out.
I looked at his outstretched hand, wondering what brought on this moment of spontaneous niceness. I quickly took his hand anyway, in case he changed his mind. We continued our walk through the corridors, only to stop when we heard a sudden clatter.
What was that?
Beats me, but there's one way to find out. We resumed our walk in the direction the noise came from, only to come to an abrupt stop at the sight before us.
Let it never be said that Erik does anything by halves.
Do you think it's real?
Knowing Erik? Probably. I bet it came from the local butchery.
Oh my god!
We looked to see a pale Mr. Wolf enter the corridor, closely followed by the Count. The Count's eyes zeroed in on her clasped hands.
Oh? Did I miss something here?
I felt my face flush and tried letting go, only to have Mr. Bandage's grip tighten for a moment. Then he let go. We were just holding hands so we wouldn't walk into each other if the lights went out again.
Unlikely story. But is it true? I think he just wanted an excuse to hold hands with someone as radiant as you.
More like I was preventing another accident waiting to happen.
Well, if the accident is anything like what happened with Erik the other day, I wouldn't mind.
The Count winked. Mr. Bandages, however, completely ignored that as he walked through the bloodied corridor to get a closer look at the blood-stained message on the wall. I cringed at the sloshing of his feet over the entrails.
Erik's certainly outdone himself this time. For once, something in his Halloween event is more creepy than corny.
Are you going to tell us what you're looking at, or just stay there and enjoy the smell?
Hey, the message is a little smeared, alright? And the writing itself is really untidy. I'm trying to figure the words out right now.
He scanned the words before making a rude sound.
There's nothing useful here.
What does it say, though?
I'll hide something, seek. Find something before I something first. Something last, something fails we shall, something for all something.
That is completely useless. Are you sure you're reading it right?
You're welcome to try if you think you can do better.
The Count grimaced as he walked toward the wall.
Great. I'm going to have to throw these shoes out after this. E.T. blank blank N blank T.Y. An eternity.
Not much use, were you?
Well, that could be pay or play. I'm not sure if that's a smear or an L.
Still not helpful.
The sound of childish singing bounced off the walls, seemingly coming from everywhere at once. The lights began to flicker, and I felt Mr. Wolf grab my hand. As the singing faded, the lights stopped flickering.
Oh, that was something.
Nothing more than a cheap trick to scare us.
Well, let him must have words considering how close you are to me all of a sudden. Or don't tell me, you've actually fallen for me as well.
You're full of yourself.
They made their way back over to us. The Count smirked when he noticed that Mr. Wolf and I were holding hands.
Oh? When is it my turn?
What are you... Oh.
Mr. Wolf hastily let go.
I got scared.
Well, anyway, that clue's of no help. I came from that corridor and there was nothing out of the ordinary. Perhaps we should continue along the left path until we find more clues.
Good point. The longer we hang around here, the less likely we can find our way out.
He proceeded to give both Mr. Wolf and I a shove in the direction of the corridor. The Count slowly followed behind us, chuckling to himself. Hey, no need to be so pushy. God. Although I guess it is best to leave this area as quickly as we can. Let's hope Erik's second clue makes more sense. We all headed off together, keeping a lookout for anything that might give us a hint as to what we were supposed to be doing. After a while, the silence was broken by the sound of the Count cursing.
What's wrong with you?
I dropped something.
What did you drop? Maybe we can help you look.
No, just leave it behind. The longer we linger, the more likely it is something will happen.
Mr. Bandages is right. You guys should keep moving.
What about you?
I'm going back to get it.
But...
It has sentimental value. I can't just leave it behind.
The Count was just walking off when all of a sudden, the lights began to flicker and the singing started up again.
Guys, tell me I'm not the only one seeing this.
Mr. Bandages and I turned to see what Mr. Wolf was making a fuss about. Is that a child? The child pointed at us and mouthed something silently. Does anyone know how to lip read?
As a matter of fact, I do.
So, what's she saying?
4 little costume dolls to play with me. One went round the corner, and then there were 3.
And then there were... Count! We all quickly rushed back in the direction that we came, only to find the corridor devoid of life. The Count was nowhere to be seen. Mr. Bandages started to walk down the hallway to see if he could figure out what happened to the Count.
Hey, Count! Can you hear?
What is it?
I stepped on something.
He leaned down to pick the item off the ground.
Well, this isn't the Count I was looking for, but it'll do.
Mr. Bandages walked back to show us what he found. He held out a blood-covered doll of the Count.
I got blood on it when I stepped on it, but I still think it's an improvement.
Wait, what's this? I pulled a folded-up piece of paper from within the doll's waistcoat. I unfolded it to find a message scrawled in blood. Find me.
Oh my god! She really did take the count!
What are you babbling?
The ghost girl! This always happens in movies!
Yeah, right.
Does this mean we have to find him?
Nah, we can probably make do with the doll.
Actually, if that was our second clue, then we probably do have to.
True. Well, either way, we're not going to solve anything by standing in the middle of the corridor.
We kept walking until we came to a set of doors. We should probably check out whatever's behind this door.
But what if it's a trap? What if she's waiting for us in there?
Don't worry, I'll check it out.
No! Mr. Bandages, tell her she can't!
Why would I do that?
The little ghost girl could get her!
And that affects me how?
See, he agrees.
I didn't say that. I just don't care either way.
Fine. If you won't protect her, then I will.
I don't,
Oh, let's see what the timid wolf can do.
but
Please, let me do this, Miss Archer. Let me show Mr. Bandages how a real man steps up.
alright. Be careful. He pushed the door open cautiously.
It's a torture chamber.
So a real man stands in the doorway and shouts in terror.
No. I'll go see if there's anything useful in here.
He walked into the room and the door slammed shut behind him. No! I grabbed the door handle and started rattling it, but the door wouldn't budge. The lights started to flicker and the ominous singing rose up once again. She's going after Mr. Wolf!
Damn, looks like he was right.
I took a few steps back and got ready to try and break the door down, but Mr. Bandages stopped me.
What? Are you crazy?
We need to get Mr. Wolf out of there, and the door is in the way!
Let me do it. I have more weight on my side.
I moved further away from the door as he made his first attempt. The impact caused the door to shake, but it held fast. He was about to try again when it suddenly creaked open by itself as the singing faded. Mr. Bandages grabbed my hand. What?
We're being picked off when we're alone. This is the simplest way of avoiding that.
Right. We slowly made our way inside the room. Just as we thought, Mr. Wolf was no longer there. We scanned the room and found Mr. Wolf's mask sitting in a pool of blood. It looks like there's something in the mask.
Yeah.
We moved closer to the mask, eyeing the strange object within it dubiously. Mr. Bandages kicked the mask aside to reveal a bloody doll of Mr. Wolf without his mask. Mr. Bandages picked it up and examined it.
Even without the mask, I still have no idea who he's supposed to be.
Does this one have a note? Mr. Bandages looked the doll over carefully before pulling a note out from under Mr. Wolf's belt. He unfolded it and read it out loud.
Find me. Another one of these?
Why is it still me? Shouldn't it be us now?
Maybe the girl didn't go to school?
Or maybe the note isn't about them. Maybe it's about her.
So we're searching for the ghost girl that's supposedly turning us into dolls. I wouldn't put it past Erik.
We searched the room for any clues or exits other than the one we used to enter, but found nothing. I don't get it. How'd they get Mr. Wolf out of here?
Don't think too hard about it. Erik probably had this entire place built just so he could do things like this. I don't think we're going to find anything else here, so we should get moving.
Yeah. Now that we've lost Count and Mr. Wolf, we're probably running out of chances to find her. I think it's game over if we're all caught and we don't find her. We left the room behind. We cautiously continued down the corridor, keeping an eye out for anything unusual.
It's been quiet for too long.
Would you rather the little girl showed up again and snatched one of us?
No, but long periods of nothing usually means Erik's trying to build up to something.
Scared?
Of course not.
Mr. Bandages stopped abruptly.
Can you feel that?
I stopped as well, and that's when I noticed it. The ground was shaking slightly.
This isn't good. Let's keep moving.
We started walking again, this time much faster than before. The shaking seemed to intensify as well until we needed to lean against the walls just to stay upright. We rounded another corner just in time to see the floor crumble away. We pulled to an abrupt stop.
Looks like this way's out of the question.
But I cut myself off when I noticed a figure on the other side of the chasm. Mr. Bandages turned to glare at the little girl. Once again, the singing started up. The girl pointed toward us and started mouthing something. What's she saying? Is she taunting us?
3 little costume dolls, what will you do? One locked himself up, and then there were 2.
Why is she talking about Mr. Wolf now? She took him a while ago.
She's taunting us. Well, too bad for her, we can't get to the other side. It's impossible. She'll have to be happy with just the 2 of them.
There must be a way to...
Why? It's obviously a trap. We'd be better off finding another way.
After a moment, the shaking stopped and we could finally move away from the wall. Oh, look, there's a metal bar across the ceiling in the middle of the room. If we could hook a rope or something to that, we could probably swing across.
Swing across? Are you kidding me? And where would we even find a rope? Let's just look for another way.
There was a rope in the torture room.
Well, the torture room is a while back, and who's to say that the floor on the way there didn't collapse either?
We'd still have to backtrack to find another way, and I'd say this is our best shot at winning this game. Of course, if you don't want to win, we can just give up.
Fine, we'll get the stupid rope. Stupid Erik, you did this on purpose.
Let's make a run for it. The quicker we get this over with, the better. We ran back to the room as quickly as we could. I picked up a rope before looking around for a moment. Do you see any hooks or something around? It would definitely make it easier.
No, I don't. Looks like we'll have to find an...
I pointed to some devices suspended from the ceiling. Oh, wait, I see some carabiner hooks holding those things up.
So, how are you going to get them down?
You can give me a boost.
You realize that you're wearing a skirt, right?
Oh, please. You're so tall that you're not going to get an eyeful unless you bend over.
True.
Mr. Bandages put his arms around my waist before lifting me up.
For someone so small, you're pretty heavy.
I'm not heavy. You're just weak.
I'm stronger than you are.
I rolled my eyes at his words before reaching for the nearest carabiner. Shoot. It's a little out of my reach. Move a little to the left? Little more. Oh, perfect. I quickly grabbed the carabiner. Got it.
Finally.
He lowered me to the ground. Here, you can attach this to the rope and we can get out of here. I handed him the carabiner and watched him stare at it for a moment. You don't know how to, do you?
I'll figure it out. How hard can it be?
Seeing as we're going to use this to cross a gaping chasm, maybe I should do it. The last thing I need is for it to come loose when I'm halfway across. I secured the carabiner to the rope before handing them back to him. We ran back to the room with the chasm. So, how good is your aim?
Perfect.
Then give it a shot. I let go of his hand and put some distance between us to give him space.
How deep do you think this hole is anyway?
Hopefully, we won't find out.
Hopefully.
Mr. Bandages launched the rope at the metal beam.
And done.
He managed to hook the carabiner to the rod. He tugged it a few times to check how secure and sturdy it was.
It seems secure, but are you sure this will hold our weight?
I went over and gave the rope a strong tug. It should. We should go one at a time, though. I don't think it could take both of us at once.
Right. Are you sure it'll hold our weight?
You just asked that.
But what if it doesn't and we fall into the...
There's probably a safety net or something down there. Erik doesn't skimp on safety precautions, remember?
I still don't like it. We're practically walking into a trap.
You don't have to come. We can always split.
No! I'm not letting you risk your life for a silly game!
A silly game? This coming from you.
Even I'd never risk my life over a game.
Well, it's my life and I can do what I want. Besides, it's perfectly safe.
Like hell I'll let you.
Mr. Bandages pulled me into a tight embrace.
Stop being such a stubborn idiot.
Hypocrite. I whispered softly as I returned his hug. For a moment, we just stood there. I could feel his warmth spreading through me and smiled as I leaned into him. You do realize that we still have to do this, right? I felt his arms tighten around me.
We don't have to do anything.
And then what would Erik and the Count think of you if they heard we gave up?
Like I care what they think.
No. This is the last event. Your last chance at winning.
It doesn't matter.
So I'm not going to mess this up for you. I broke away from him and ran towards the rope.
No!
And before he could say another word, I jumped into the air. As I sailed across the chasm, the lights started flickering again. Shit! The moment my feet hit the ground on the other side, I whirled around to find Mr. Bandages, only to have my fears realized. He was gone. I could just make out a lump on the other side of the chasm. Another doll? The last ones had clues, so I should probably get this one too. I swung back to the other side. Just as I thought, there was a doll of Mr. Bandages resting on top of the other two dolls. Carrying all three dolls like this will be really inconvenient. Oh, I know. I quickly emptied my quiver and shoved the Mr. Wolf and Count dolls into it. Then I hastily grabbed the Mr. Bandages doll and swung back to the other side. I turned the doll over, looking for the clue. It didn't take me long to find a folded up note sticking out from under his bandages. I quickly pulled it free and unfolded it to find a different message from last time. Mine? Let's see you try. The light seemed to dim in response to my words. Time to get out of here. I ran through the corridor and came to a large door. I pushed it open cautiously to reveal a room filled with mirrors. I took a step into it only to have the door slam shut behind me. Whirling around, I tried to open the door, but just as I expected, it wouldn't budge. Only one way to go now, I guess. I held the Mr. Bandages doll close for comfort as I walked further into the room. After a moment, I realized something was wrong. These mirrors. They don't show my reflection. Are they really mirrors, then, or just pictures? I was still staring at the mirrors when the lights dimmed again. All right, I'm going. I started to walk again, only to catch sight of something in the mirror. I turned to try and catch a glimpse of it, but it was gone. I continued walking, only to come face to face with the sight of the girl in one of the mirrors. Immediately, I spun around, but the girl wasn't behind me. What the hell? The girl seemed to move from mirror to mirror, almost as if showing me the way. All right, I'm coming. I cautiously followed the trail until I saw yet another ominous-looking door. The girl now occupied every mirror, and in unison, they pointed at the door. Do I really have to? A nearby mirror shattered, sounding deafeningly loud in the silence. I'll take that as a yes. I hesitantly pushed the door open. Okay, this doesn't look so bad. Looks kind of like a witch's room or something. There's no other door, so whatever I'm supposed to do should be in this room. A quick survey of the room drew my eyes to a sheet of paper lying on the table. The spell of items lost. To find what you seek, gather these ingredients into the cauldron and stir thrice. That doesn't sound too hard. Let's see, the items are the Bringer of Light, the Keeper of Secrets, Blood of Toad, the Balance of Power, a Flask of Aqua, and Shackles of Flight. What the ever-loving fuck, Erik? Okay, I can do this. Alright, I thought the plate thing was ridiculous, but Erik has really outdone himself. This isn't even a scavenger hunt. Everything I need is right here, staring me in the face. And what's with these needlessly flowery names? Flask of Aqua. Oh gee, I wonder if that's that bottle of blue shit right here. Ugh, I'm so done with this. Once all the ingredients were in the cauldron, I stirred it 3 times. It began to bubble strangely and suddenly filled the room with smoke. Just as quick as it appeared, the smoke disappeared to reveal that one of the walls was no longer in place. Well, I've come this far. I made my way over to where the wall used to be and stared down at the dark stairwell it had revealed. Raising my hand against a wall, I slowly began my descent into darkness. The moment my foot touched the last stair, lights flared to life. In the middle of the room laid a single coffin. A tomb. Oh, I see. I hesitantly made my way over to it. On closer inspection, I could make out words scrawled into the coffin. It's been cold and dark for so long. Will I never see the sun? I need to take her into the sunlight? The coffin's bolted to the ground, though. I don't want to open it, but I guess I have no choice. I took firm hold of the edge of the coffin's lid and pushed. I pointedly kept my eyes averted from the coffin's contents until I had fully removed the lid. Then I steeled myself before peering inside. A doll? It looks pretty realistic, but it's definitely a doll. I let out a relieved breath. Carrying around a doll is a lot better than carrying around a rotting body or skeleton. As I lifted the surprisingly light doll into my arms, part of the wall slid away to reveal another set of stairs. I made my way to those stairs and looked up to see light at the other end. Could it be? I quickly made my way up those stairs. A few minutes later, I let out a relieved laugh as I emerged into the warm sunlight. I looked down when I felt the already light doll getting even lighter. What the? The doll had begun to crumble, and before long, there was nothing but dust.
Good job, Miss Archer. The curse has finally been broken. For your efforts in this endeavor, your team shall receive 5 points.
I looked up to see one of the servants standing by a door. Where are Mr. Wolf, Mr. Bandages, and the Count?
They await you inside. If you'll follow me?
I nodded and followed the man. He led me to our team room. I couldn't help but smile at the familiar sight of the three of them waiting for me there.
You idiot!
Before I could process what was happening, Mr. Bandages pulled me into a tight hug. Mr. Bandages? The sound of a cough had me looking over Mr. Bandage's shoulder to see a sheepish-looking Count and a blushing Mr. Wolf. Mr. Bandages immediately pulled away. He looked from me to the Count, to Mr. Wolf, and finally back to me.
I'm going to shower.
With that, he strode from the room.
Interesting. Well, Mr. Bandages certainly had the right idea. I'm not staying in these bloody clothes any longer than I need to. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
You did a great job, Miss Archer. I never would have completed that task.
I watched the two of them leave before heading to my own room to shower.
Did you, the same man who wandered the wilderness for hours, instead of just asking someone to help you get back, just ask me for a favor?
Why are you even bringing that up? That was years ago, and you already put a tracking device on me thanks to it.
I had to have most of my staff mobilized to look for you. I'm allowed to bring it up. Besides, in all these years, you haven't changed. Well, until now, I guess. You never have come here begging.
Who's begging? I'm just asking for a favor to get some fresh air. Surely you can indulge your guests that much.
I see. Well, I am always obliged to keep my guests happy within reason. I do hope you enjoy your time. Oh, and Landon, try not to thaw all over my floors.
I was just getting out of the shower when I heard a loud banging at my door. Give me a moment.
You have 1 minute to get dressed.
Wait, what? Why?
50 seconds.
Hold your fucking horses! I quickly changed into my archer costume before opening the door. So, what's the emergency?
We're going somewhere.
Where?
Out.
I was about to go back into the room to change into casual clothes when he grabbed my hand. What? He pulled me along as he began to follow the man that was waiting there silently. I tried to dig my heels in when I noticed that we were headed towards one of Erik's garages. Hey, wait!
What?
So, we're just going to leave the mansion right this minute?
Yes.
What happened to the rules?
Screw the rules, I have money. We have Erik's full permission.
Well, that's all fine and good, but you could have at least let me change first. I'm still in my costume.
I did. Still, it's not like it matters. I'm not dragging you out to impress anyone.
It matters to me. Can you imagine the stares I'll get for walking around in a costume while you're not?
It's not like you're walking around in a fursuit. Just take off the extras.
You wouldn't be saying that if you were the one in costume. We reached the garage and the man held the door to the car open for us.
No, but if I took off the extras, I'd be leaving very little to the imagination.
He quickly looked me over and grabbed off my mask, bow, and quiver.
See, you look fine.
Fine my ass! My hair is still dripping wet. Where the hell are you taking me anyway? He slid into the car.
Get in and find out.
I glared at him before getting into the car. The driver dropped us off at the city center, and we spent the next 10 minutes just walking around aimlessly. So, did you just bring me here to make sure you didn't get lost?
Yes.
But today isn't a rest day. Does Erik know about this?
Erik knows about everything that happens in that mansion.
Ugh. Creepy. Landon let out a laugh. He shot me an inquisitive look.
What?
I think this is the first time I've seen you laugh.
I've laughed before.
Not like that. You've done the whole derisive laughter thing, but nothing like that. It's kinda cute. He scowled and looked away. So why were you laughing anyway?
You said Erik was creepy.
I don't see what's so funny about that.
I've never heard anyone call him that. I think I heard him being called a demented circus monkey once, but never creepy. Usually women are throwing themselves at him, and men are either doing the same or cursing him.
I thought back to the meeting I had with him in the kitchen. I can see why.
Wait, what do you mean by that? You just called him creepy.
I said,
Oh hey, check out that girl's outfit. Is it a new fashion style or something?
If it is, I'm not complaining. More for the eyes.
both Landon and I whipped around to glare at the men making those comments. And this is why I didn't want to come out in this. Landon quickly pulled his jumper off and put it over my head. Hey!
Put it on.
At his demanding tone, I grudgingly shoved my hands through the armholes of the oversized jumper.
That look ain't that bad either. Almost like waking up the next morning.
Oh, fuck off!
Oh, for the love of... come on.
Landon grabbed my arm and pulled me along as he walked away. Where are we going?
Somewhere where those buffoons aren't.
We spent the rest of the night that way, with him dragging me from place to place with no real objective. Still, the one thing I will remember from it is the warmth of his hand wrapped around mine.